Hello and welcome back to my channel Computer Classes by Rachna. Now we will discuss the library management system case study in which I have already created the use case diagram and use case template. If you have not seen the previous video, kindly go through the previous video. And now we will be doing ERDs and DFDs for the same. ERD stands for the entity relationship diagrams and DFD stands for data flow diagrams. So this is the problem statement for a library management system. If it is not mentioned, you can give your own assumptions the same way. So the first one is every student is issued a library card against 2 books which can be issued. So each book is issued for 1 week, after which it must be returned. A reminder email is also sent to the students by the librarian 2 days before the return date. If the book is not returned on time, then a fine of ₹5 is charged per extra day. The faculty can get the books issued for 1 semester. The faculty recommends the subject books which are ordered by the librarian after approval from the admin head, which also makes payments to the books. In the previous video, we have also made the use case diagram, and it says the next point: librarian maintains the book records, student record and faculty records, and the students can get the books searched and check their availability with the help of librarian. So this was the use case diagram that was created. You can see we have the actors student, admin head and vendor, and we also have the actors teacher and librarian. The use cases related to teacher were check availability, issue book, return book and recommend books, whereas the use cases related to librarian were check availability, issue book, and then send reminder, which is for reminder mails, and then charges fine, manage books, manage faculty, order books and manage student, which in turn these functions included add book, remove book and update book for the managed books. And order book included approval of books, which was done by the admin head, and the head used to make the payments. Vendor used to receive the order of the books, receive the payment and supplies the books. And the student used to have check availability, issue the book, return the book, which extended the use case pays fine. So this was the use case diagram we already discussed in the previous video. Now this is the ERD according to the problem statement. So the entities which are involved are student, then book and the teacher and the vendor, payment, librarian, and these are and fine. So these are the things which are involved. So librarian places an order, and let's first talk about the librarian. The librarian places the order, all right, for the books. So this is the relationship which is which is 1:m, because one librarian can place m orders of books. All right, then the librarian charges the fine. One librarian can charge multiple fines. All right, and then other particular function that is related to librarian is reminder mail. So librarian sends the reminder mail. So one librarian can send multiple reminder mails. All right, now let's talk about student. The student pays the fine, all right, and the student receives reminder mail. So one student pays multiple fine and one student can receive multiple reminder mails. So it is cardinality, which is 1:m. All right, then you have student returns the books. So one student can return multiple books and one book can be returned by multiple students. Kindly understand the cardinality. The cardinality between student and book. So one student can return multiple books and one book can be returned by multiple students. Since it is 1:m, from both the sides, it becomes m is to n. All right. Then we talk about the relationship between the teacher and the book. So teacher can recommend the book, teacher can request the book, and teacher gives back the book. So understand, we have not taken teacher issues the book and we have taken a different keyword request. We are not taking teacher issues a book. The reason is that there is no relationship between teacher issue student. If I take issues and I take the three entities teacher, student and book, then teacher issue student is an incorrect statement, and that is why we have taken a different relationship for book. All right. Then you can see the relationship between teacher and book. So teacher gives back books. So one teacher can request for many books and one book can be requested by many teachers. So the relationship request between teacher and book is m is to n cardinality. And one student can get many books issued. So the relationship between student and book, the relationship between student and book is 1 is to m. I've shown 1 dot dot 2 here in case we have this restriction, but since we can assume that one student can get many books issued, after returning and again reissuing, so we are getting one student can issue many books. But in case you want to show it as a rule, so 1 dot dot 2, which means minimum 1 and maximum 2 books can be issued by one student. So it depends upon the assumption that you take. Since you are taking the rule which was given that one student can get 2 books at once, so we are giving it 1 dot dot 2. And in case you take this assumption that one student can get many books issued by returning and reissuing the books, so you can write down this assumption and you can write down m here. So this completely depends upon your assumption that you are taking. Okay. And then look at order. So librarian places an order. This order is approved by the admin. So admin approves the order, admin makes the payment, and the vendor receives the order. All right. And the order which is given by the librarian is approved by admin and received by the vendor. The vendor receives the payment which is made by the admin. So vendor receives the payment and admin makes the payment. Can you see that? So you have to think when you are creating the entity relationship diagram that you are not missing on any of the points of the problem statement or any of the assumptions. All right, this is how you will create an entity relationship diagram for library management system. Now, I'll just show you the DFD, data flow diagram for the library management system. So this is level 0 DFD. It is also known as the context diagram. So first thing, understand, we have to mention all the entities that are involved. So what are the entities that are involved? I'm marking them with red. Librarian is involved, vendor is involved, admin is involved, faculty is involved, and student is involved. We can write down teacher also instead of faculty, whatever you feel like. Now, the name of the system should be inside the box. So this is the name, library management system, and we name the process as process 1.0. This is 0 level DFD. In the 0 level DFD, we do not use the data stores mostly. We only give the entities and we show that which entities are sources, which means they are providing some information to the system, they are providing some input to the system, and which entities are sink. Sync means they are receiving some output from the system. So inputs I've marked with green color and outputs I've marked with pink color so that you understand it better. So look at the first entity, librarian. So librarian will give the order. The librarian will enter the book details. Librarian will enter the student details, faculty details, and reminder email. So these are the things that goes as an input to the library management system. And in return, what does the librarian receive? Librarian will receive recommendations from the faculty and the librarian will receive the ordered books. All right. Now look at the student. The student will give the library card or will give the fine. and in return the student will either receive the book or the student will receive the reminder email. Faculty will send the request for the book, and faculty can also send the recommendation for the book, and the faculty can receive the book as an output. Now let's talk about admin. Admin will receive the order request, and admin will give approval for that book's order, and it will give payment for that order. So the vendor will receive the order, and vendor will receive the payment for the order once he provides books to the system. I hope it is clear. This is 0 level DFD for library management system. So in case you have understood the problem statement, you can create a DFD, level 0 DFD for any system. Right now the example is of library management system, but what you can do is you can also create a DFD for any problem statement which is given to you. So if you're given a problem statement for clinic management system, for result management system, or any system for that matter, the only thing you need to understand is what are the entities which are providing input to the system. Those entities are known as source. And what are the entities which are receiving output from the system? Those entities are known as sink. Sometimes they could be different, but sometime a same entity can be a source also, which means it provides input, and the entity can be a sink also, which means it receives output. Just note down one thing, that on the arrow we have the input and output only. We do not give any verbs. So no verbs on the arrows. Please understand. Please note, no verbs on the arrows. Arrows के ऊपर हम कोई verb नहीं लिख रहे, हम सिर्फ input and output लिख रहे हैं. हम ये नहीं लिख रहे that vendor is sending the request, or we are not sending the order, or vendor is receiving the payment. So no verbs on arrows. On the arrows we will just write down only one thing, which is what input is going and what output is received. That could be a you can say noun. So a book is a noun, request is a noun, recommendation is a noun, library card is a noun, fine is a noun. All right, so these are the things which we will write down on the arrows. Okay, now I'm talking about another rule which is very, very important. That rule is preservation of input and output. Whatever input is going into this system and whatever output is coming out of the system, when I extend this DFD to level 1, level 2, and so on, this rule of preservation must be followed, which means when I subdivide this process 1.0, if I subdivide, no matter how many sub processes I create, whatever input is coming in this system, whatever inputs are coming in this system, and whatever outputs are going out of the system, they should remain same. They should remain same, and they should not become lesser or more. All right. So when I divide this process 1.0, the input and output should be preserved. I hope you understand. Now let's extend this. So this was a simple DFD for level 0 for library management system. Now I move here. Now this is the DFD which you can see is level 1 DFD, in which we will expand this process 1.0. So I have expanded this process into 1.1 issuing of books, 1.2 pay fine, 1.3 manage details, 1.4 send recommendation, and 1.5 manage book order. So these are the functions which are performed in the library management system, let's say. Now what we have to do, we have to preserve the input and the output. So to issue the book, what was going inside the library management system? The library card. So student gives the library card and student receives the book. All right. And student also gives fine. So student pays the fine. It goes to process 1.2. Am I clear? Now, when we have done book issue. Now issue a book means the book details go to the book details file, and they are also received in book details file if there are any changes. All right. Now the fine, pay fine, whenever a fine is paid we are creating a data store. This open rectangle is a data store. This is a data store which is created to create the file records. So fine records are stored in the fine file. All right. Then we have the next, which is manage details. So librarian will enter the book details, student details, and faculty details, and librarian will manage their details. And all these details are stored separately in the book detail file, student detail file, and faculty detail file. So these data stores were not shown in level 0, but we have to show them in level 1. So whatever function we are performing, whatever data is to be stored, that will be stored in their corresponding data stores. All right. Then we have the librarian receives recommendation. So recommendation was an output. If you will see my previous diagram, you can see the student was giving out library card, giving in library card and fine, and was receiving book and reminder email. So this has to be preserved for student. Now let's again move to the next diagram. See here, the student was giving in library card and fine, and the student is receiving book, and the student is also receiving reminder email. So reminder email we will add here as a function which I have not added. So 1.6 process I can add here, and this process would be send, or just write down reminder email. Okay, so or send reminder email, send reminder email. So who will send the reminder email? The librarian. And who will receive the reminder email? The student. So email is received by the student and email is sent by the librarian. Am I clear? So now the student is receiving two things, email and book. These were the two things that we were talking about here. All right. Similarly, when we talk about the librarian is sending the reminder email in the system. Can you see that? So this is why we have added this process 1.6, which is reminder email. So send reminder email, and so student will receive email and librarian will send the email. Am I clear? So librarian's outgoing things are, I'm marking them with yellow. The librarian is going to give email to the system. The librarian is going to give the book details, student details, and faculty details. And the librarian is going to give order. All right. And the librarian is going to receive the recommendation. So these are the things related to the librarian. You can check. And now let's move. So librarian will give all these details. Again, I'm marking them: order, book details, student details, faculty details, reminder details, and he will receive recommendation and ordered books. All right. So we have to preserve the input and the output, which is going from some entity, into the system, and which is received by some entity out of the system. We have to preserve that. So now let's look at the faculty. Faculty is sending request, faculty is sending recommendation, and faculty is receiving books. So just move down and see here, that is the faculty sending the request. So let's see faculty. Yeah, so faculty is sending request, yes, and faculty is receiving book and recommendation. This is, and it is sending recommendation and it is receiving the book. So these three things are preserved. Now let's look at admin. Admin is receiving the order request and giving the approval and payment. So this is what was shown in the previous one, that admin is receiving the order request, giving approval, and giving the payment. Now let's look at the vendor. So the vendor is giving the books, receiving the order, and the payment. So let's see vendor here. So vendor here is receiving the order, making the payments, and receiving the order and the payment, and giving the books. All right. So, and all the details of the order is stored in order details file. All right. So these are the way to create the different levels of DFDs. Now what we have to do, we have already created level 1 DFD and now we have to create level 2 DFD. In level 2 DFD, what can be done is I can take up any of these sub processes and expand them, but we have to mention which process we are expanding. For example, I can take process 1.3 and expand it into manage book details, manage student details, and manage faculty details. So the input should go this, and the output should be whatever output is coming out. So there is no output which is coming out, it's only the details going to different data stores. So we can manage this and divide this process into the sub processes. Then another option is I can go for expanding process 1.5, which is manage book details. So what I've done is I've expanded this process 1.5. See here. So this process was, let's first see the process. It was manage book order. So this process is having inputs from the librarian, that it receives order from the librarian and ordered books go to the librarian, and it receives recommendations, like for example it receives payment from the admin and approval from the admin, and order request is sent to the admin. Then the vendor receives the order and it also receives the payment. He also receives the payment and gives the book. So all these things that I have marked, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 has to be preserved. So let's see. So it is process 1.5.1, which is request order, which is send order request, not request order request. It will be send order request, and then receive the approval. Then this is process 1.5.2, then send the order, which is 1.5.3, and then receive ordered books and make the payment. So this is the process. So send the request for the order, and then receive approval for the order from the admin, and then send the actual order to the vendor, and then receive the ordered books from the vendor and make the payment. All right, so who is giving the order? The librarian is giving the order. So librarian through the order is making the request for the order to the admin first. So the admin will give approval, all right, for this request, and then the order actually is sent and send order function takes place. Now when the order is sent, it is sent to the vendor. So output goes vendor, and the vendor provides books. So it received the books, and then payment is made by the admin. So admin is making the payment, and then this payment which is made by the admin is received by the vendor. So everything that we marked is covered. Order is there, order request is there, approval is there. All right, ordered books are received by the librarian, payment is made by the admin and received by the admin. So all the things that were mentioned in the previous diagram has been completed here. So the input and output are preserved for the process 1.5. all right, so this is level 2. In case your DFD is very complicated, like problem statement is too large, then you can expand level 3 DFD, which would be expansion of any of these process, or you can go back to the level 1 DFD and you can take up any other process for expansion. All right, so this is what is the actual scenario. So here the librarian receives recommendation and ordered books. See, the librarian was receiving recommendation and ordered books in level 0, and let's see level 1. Again, the librarian is receiving what? Recommendation and order books, and this is preserved at next level also. See, in the next level the librarian is giving out the order, and again the librarian is receiving the recommendation which we have proved here, and librarian is receiving the ordered books here. All right, so we are preserving the input and the output. So for the order function, if you will see, all the things which are going out, those 7 things which were in manage order, like order, ordered books 1 2, and then order and payment 3 4, then books 5, and then order request 6, and approval and payment 7. So all these things are there in the next level. So I hope you are able to understand the concept. I hope the things are clear now. All the best. Thank you so much.